This week, a powerful AI player entered the India chat in a whole new way. In fact, it officially set up shop in Bangalore just the day before yesterday. Most of us are well aware that OpenAI and specifically ChatGPT has been growing a massive user base in India. It currently stands at 100 million weekly users, which is the company's second largest base, coming up just behind the US. Now, the powerful player I mentioned earlier has been seeing growing adoption in India over the last year, but it is yet to reach the same popularity as ChatGPT. I'm talking about Anthropic's Claude, which has been quite busy making headlines since the beginning of this month. Let's start with the latest. At the India AI Impact Summit, which is going on in Delhi right now, Anthropic announced its first office in India. It also announced a whole host of partnerships across sectors including legal, education, health, agriculture, and more. Then, yesterday, it said that it will be collaborating with Infosys, one of the biggest tech companies in India, to build AI agents for telecommunications and other regulated industries. What's notable about these developments is their timing. They are coming right after Anthropic sent India's investors and their tech stocks into a sell-off frenzy, which was triggered by the launch of Claude's Cowork plugins, which seemed to confirm rising fears that agentic AI was going to overturn the SaaS industry as we knew it. I covered this in an episode last week, which I'll link below in the show notes for you. So basically, Anthropic is here, and from the looks of it, it's here to stay. And if we consider the growing conversation around AI and ethics, with how Grok was being used to create sexualized images of women and children, with numerous other concerns surrounding data privacy and safety, and the growing scrutiny surrounding OpenAI, Anthropic seemed to stand apart from the rest. If you didn't know, Anthropic's founder, Dario Amodei, had actually left OpenAI to build Anthropic as an AI safety and research public benefit corporation. It's geared towards studying AI and anticipating safety and security loopholes that are bound to come with a fast developing, still largely unregulated technology. As far as its identity as an ethical AI company was concerned, Anthropic seemed to be doing everything right. When OpenAI introduced ads, Anthropic said there was no way it would do the same. It even said that it would cover the electricity costs of its own data centers so that it wouldn't get distributed to regular consumers. But then, this weekend, the Wall Street Journal broke the news that the US military had used Claude during a mission to capture former Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, which goes in a completely opposite direction from Anthropic's ethical stance. Because Anthropic's usage guidelines explicitly prohibit Claude from being used to facilitate violence, develop weapons, or conduct surveillance. And this brings a very uncomfortable question into focus. See, India's massive population has been and will most likely continue to be the favorite data-rich market for tech giants. But now, the possibility and the use of Claude for what it itself considers as non-ethical purposes is looking more likely. So what happens when one of the few self-proclaimed ethical AI companies is also slowly possibly becoming part of the problem? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from The Ken. I'm your host Rachel Verghese, and every day of the week, my co-host Snigdha Sharma and I will bring you one news story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of February. Let's take a quick look at all the ways in which foreign AI companies have made headway into Indian use cases. Of course, it all began with OpenAI. The first sign that India was once again becoming a training data source was when ChatGPT launched its cheapest Go tier plan in India at Rs 399. My co-host Snigdha actually covered this in another episode last year, which I'll also link in the show notes below. You know how people always say that if it's free, you're the product? That's obviously still the case with AI. It's something that's been said before, but it bears repeating in this context. LLMs like ChatGPT are built on data. And the more data it ingests, the better it can perform with every new model release. And what could be a better source of data than a population that's mostly young, English speaking, and has access to cheap internet and tech? India is so rich as a data mine that companies like ChatGPT can entirely bypass direct profits from subscriptions and still justify the move. Over just the last year, it's been integrating itself into several levels and use cases in both the public and private sectors. In the public sector, OpenAI has launched quite a few education related initiatives. One is the OpenAI Learning Accelerator, which is an India first initiative that basically aims to bring OpenAI's AI to India's educators and students across the nation through AI research, training, and deployment. It also has partnerships with the Ministry of Education to provide access to teachers in government schools who teach classes 1st to 12th. It's supposed to assist them with planning lessons and improving student engagement. It's even partnered with the All India Council for Technical Education, or AICTE, and again, it provides ChatGPT access to these technical institutes with the aim of helping with strengthening digital skills, employability, and learning practical AI use. But the most notable partnership, and of a sensitive nature, is the partnerships OpenAI has entered with fintech companies like PhonePe, Razorpay, and NCPI, which is a national payment infrastructure. While the partnership with PhonePe is largely to have ChatGPT be more discoverable on its business apps, the Razorpay and NCPI partnership is interesting because this is where OpenAI introduces agentic payments, which allows users to carry out payments directly through OpenAI. Now, most kinds of financial information are meant to be private. The same case applies here. And while all parties concerned swear that all security conditions are being met, some experts still have worries. Rishi Agarwal from TeamLease RegTech, which is a compliance management software company, said that while the feature was groundbreaking, there were some regulatory issues that would need immediate attention. Think about it. If an AI agent is making your payments, it needs constant access to your personal information. Simple things like food preferences, purchase history, and even your payment details. The thing is, under current data rules in India, each of these requires separate permissions. Also, one time permissions don't work either. It has to be an ongoing process of oversight and granting permissions. Plus, OpenAI doesn't have a data center in India yet, which means most of the data that's collected from Indian users is all stored in data centers based in the US. And here's another thing. Even if they were to have data centers in India, they cannot guarantee data sovereignty because of a specific US act called the Cloud Act. In July 2025, Microsoft admitted that under this act, any data stored on their servers would technically be under US jurisdiction, and US authorities would be able to demand data access at any point. So, when an act like this exists, a lot of questions arise. And OpenAI has just made it clear that its effort to help countries cannot be divorced from the interests of the US government. Take this quote from a statement the company made about an initiative called OpenAI for Countries just last year, a move that was supposed to help other countries create their own Gen AI environments. It said, and I'm quoting here, "We believe that partnering closely with the US government is the best way to advance democratic AI." This statement especially caused analysts to voice their concerns, because how could this global movement be democratic if it was so intrinsically tied to one government's interests? And that's kind of exactly the tension we're seeing between the US government's use of Anthropic and the current conflict between the company and the state. More on this in the next segment. Now, what's going on with Anthropic and the US government? Well, it's a little complicated, but stick with me. Like I mentioned earlier, the US government used Claude in the operation to capture the former president of Venezuela, though it's still not clear in what capacity. As the Wall Street Journal reported, the AI tools being used in the organization can be for everything from summarizing documents to controlling autonomous drones. But of course, this use of Anthropic goes against the company's founding principles and the usage guidelines of its products. So now, It's caught in a conflict with the US government because the government is now pushing Anthropic to remove the restrictions on its models and offer the military unrestricted access. And because the company has, as of yet, not budged in its stance, the Department of War has reportedly stated that it will cut ties with the company altogether. The thing is, the company can't even cave that easily. You see, Anthropic officially operates as a public benefit corporation with something called a long term benefit trust for the responsible development and maintenance of advanced AI for the long term benefit of humanity. This actually means they are legally bound to prioritizing societal benefit alongside profits. Could they possibly qualify prioritizing national security according to the US military's classification as societal benefit? Sure, that's a possibility that can't be ignored. But what could also happen is that the company would then be open to large scale criticism and it would possibly jeopardize its growing partnerships with governments elsewhere. It would lose much, if not all, of the goodwill it has gathered up until now by being the ethical AI company. And all of this is happening just as it's expanding into India in a big way. Now, Anthropic conducted a study on its own usage in India, where it noted that while India was its second largest user base, most of it was concentrated in states like Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Delhi for very specific use cases, largely involving tech and coding. Its conclusion through this observation that there was a lot more it could do in the country, especially considering the sheer size of its population. And so, it's partnering with local AI companies and nonprofits to test performances in what it calls locally relevant tasks like agriculture and law. The goal is also to improve models for speakers of Indic languages to use. It's also being used very specifically for government use cases with a newly created plugin called Model Context Protocol or MCP. This plugin basically allows users to connect various different platforms onto one, which then allows AI to carry out various functions across these multiple platforms. A specific use case of this MCP is what the Indian Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation or MOSPI launched with the support of non-profit Bharat Digital. It's the first official Indian government MCP server which helps users of AI systems to access and analyze nationally verified statistics across sectors. Now, here's again where Anthropic potentially gets access to some really sensitive data. It's also going to be demonstrating how Claude Code and Cowork can have an impact within health-based nonprofits. This includes Noora Health, which is a platform that delivers accessible health coaching to millions of families, and even in telehealth, which again gives patients in remote communities access to quality medical care. Think about all the sensitive information users share when it comes to health. And then think about how there haven't been a lot of discussions as to how all of this information is going to be protected. To be fair though, it's important to remember that a lot of this is still playing out and are all announcements that were made just a couple of days ago. But there's one thing that we as users cannot afford to forget. At the end of the day, for companies like OpenAI and Anthropic, their wealth, their futures, their very existences are tied to their relationships with the US government and the freedom they get to operate within the country. The headquarters are based in the US, the data centers are concentrated there. They get their tax breaks and subsidies from the US government. So here's the thing. Until they put significant legally binding steps in place, until they create real internal guardrails that actually ensure local sovereignty for every country they operate in or expand into, any tie-up with them is less a partnership and more a Faustian bargain.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription offers daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the Ken website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Rachel Varghese and edited by Rajiv Sien.